What's good, everybody? Today we've got a family story that'll make you check your phone's voice recorder app. Because this guy? He came prepared. A financial planner flies home for the holidays. Nice flight, good vibes, ready for Christmas with the family. But the night before the big dinner, he overhears something he wasn't supposed to hear. His parents and his sister in the kitchen, planning how to get him to cover $8,000 in holiday expenses. $8,000. For a Christmas dinner and vacation they planned without asking him. He doesn't confront them. He doesn't storm in. He records the conversation. Then he sits down at that dinner table the next night, waits for the pitch, and plays the recording out loud for everyone to hear. The table goes dead silent. His sister starts crying. His mother says, "You were never supposed to hear that." And this man gets up, drives to a hotel, and books himself a solo vacation. This is cold, calculated, and honestly, deserved. Let's get into it. I flew home for Christmas. The night before dinner, I overheard my family plotting to get me to pay $8,000 in holiday expenses. So I recorded it. Then I played it at the table. I want to start by saying that I didn't go home for Christmas looking for a fight. I really didn't. I was actually in a pretty great headspace. Work had been solid. I just closed a big quarter, and I was genuinely looking forward to spending time with my family. That's what makes this whole thing so much worse. I came in with good intentions and left with a hotel reservation. My name's Jake. I'm 31. I work as a financial planner at a wealth management firm in Charlotte. The short version of what I do is I help people with money make smart decisions about their money. Asset allocation, retirement planning, tax strategy, estate planning, that kind of thing. I'm not a Wall Street guy or anything like that. I wear a tie to work, I sit in a nice office, and I have conversations with people about their futures. I'm good at it because I actually care about the numbers and, more importantly, I care about people not getting taken advantage of financially, which is ironic given what happened to me over Christmas. But we'll get there. I grew up in Ohio, small town outside of Columbus, the kind of place where everyone knows your business, and the biggest event of the year is the high school football homecoming game. My parents still live there. My dad, Bill, is 58 and works as a plant manager at a manufacturing facility. My mom, Linda, is 56 and does part-time bookkeeping for a couple of small businesses in town. My sister, Claire, is 28 and works as an office administrator for a dental practice. She still lives about 10 minutes from my parents. The three of them are close, really close. And I don't mean that in a heartwarming, isn't that nice kind of way. I mean it in a they operate as a unit and I'm the outsider kind of way. Always have been. Growing up, it was Dad, Mom, and Claire as this tight little triangle, and I was the kid who happened to live in the same house. I wasn't mistreated. I wasn't neglected in any obvious way. I was just peripheral. The fourth chair at a three-person table. I left for college at 18, went to Ohio State, studied finance, graduated, got a job, moved to Charlotte, and built a life. I come home for major holidays. Christmas, Thanksgiving, sometimes Easter if the timing works. Every time I come back, it's the same dynamic. The three of them have their rhythms, their inside jokes, their shorthand. And I show up like a guest who's been given a temporary pass. "Oh, Jake's here. Great. Set an extra plate." Quick example. 2 Thanksgivings ago, I flew in on Wednesday evening. Got to my parents' house around 8. My mom, Dad, and Claire were sitting in the living room watching a movie they'd clearly started without any intention of waiting for me. My mom said, "Oh, you're here. We saved you some leftover Chinese." They'd ordered dinner together, watched a movie together, and didn't think to wait an hour for me to land. I ate cold lo mein on the kitchen counter while they finished their film. Welcome home, Jake. I've been the financially responsible one in the family since I was about 23. I don't say that to brag, I say it because it matters for the story. I started making decent money in my mid-20s, and by 28 I was earning more than both my parents combined. That's not because I'm some genius. It's because wealth management pays well if you're good at it, and I put in the work. I maxed out my retirement accounts, built up savings, invested carefully, and lived below my means for years. I drive a reasonable car. I rent a nice apartment, but not an extravagant one. I have no debt. I've been smart with money because that's literally my job. The problem is that my family figured out I had money. And once they figured that out, the dynamic shifted. Subtly at first, then not subtly at all. It started maybe 3 years ago. I'd come home for Christmas and my dad would casually mention that the furnace was acting up and repairs were expensive. My mom would sigh about how groceries cost so much more than they used to. Claire would talk about how her car needed new brakes, but she was stretched thin. These conversations always happened within earshot of me. Never directed at me exactly, just aimed in my general direction. Like how you put food near a stray cat and wait for it to come closer. The first time I bid, it was the furnace thing. My dad mentioned the repair estimate was $1,800. He didn't ask me for money. He just left the number hanging in the air like a fly ball waiting to be caught. And I caught it. I said, "Dad, I'll cover the furnace." His face did this thing, relief mixed with something I couldn't quite name. He said, "You don't have to do that, son." I said I wanted to, and I did at the time. I wanted to help. That's what family does. After that, it became a pattern. Claire's car needed tires, $400. Mom's bookkeeping software needed an upgrade, $600. The roof had a leak, $2,200. My dad's truck needed transmission work, $3,000. Every visit, there was something. And every time, the ask came the same way. Not as a direct request, but as a strategically placed complaint designed to trigger my instinct to fix things. They'd learned that I wouldn't say no if they presented it as a hardship. So they kept presenting hardships. I want to be fair here. Some of these were legitimate expenses. The furnace really was broken. The roof really did leak. I'm not saying they invented problems to squeeze me. But over 3 years, I added it up. And I'm a financial planner, so yeah, I added it up. And I'd given them close to $19,000. 19 grand in helping out. That was never really helping out. It was subsidizing. I was subsidizing their household while also trying to build my own life 4 states away. And here's the thing that really got under my skin. Not once, not a single time, did any of them say, "We'll pay you back." Not once did anyone acknowledge the pattern. Not once did my dad sit me down and say, "Son, we appreciate what you've been doing, and we want you to know we don't take it for granted." It was just expected. Jake has money. Jake will help. Jake always helps. File it under things we don't need to discuss. I started pulling back about a year ago. I stopped volunteering to cover things. When my mom mentioned the dishwasher was making a weird noise, I said, "That's annoying. Hope it works out." When Claire complained about her rent going up, I said, "Yeah, everything's getting more expensive." I stopped being the wallet, and I could feel the temperature change. The conversations got a little shorter. The texts got a little less frequent. The warmth, what little there was, cooled by a degree or two. Nothing dramatic, just enough to notice. But I still went home for Christmas, because despite all of it, they're my family. And I kept hoping, probably stupidly, that one year we'd just have a normal holiday. No financial ambushes, no sideways requests, just turkey and pie and maybe a board game and everyone pretending to like each other's gifts. That's all I wanted. Let me jump in. This is me, not Jake. This man has given his family close to $19,000 over 3 years. Not because they asked, because they engineered situations where his instinct to help kicked in. Present a problem, drop a dollar amount, wait for Jake to open his wallet. That's not family helping family. That's a system. I'm calling these 3 the committee. They don't ask Jake for money, they convene, strategize, and deploy. Jake's a financial planner who's been getting played by amateurs, but the planner just realized he's been reading the wrong spreadsheet, and he's about to audit the whole operation. So, Christmas, this past December. I flew into Columbus on December 23rd. My mom picked me up from the airport, which was nice. She was chatty in the car, talking about the dinner she was planning for Christmas Eve, how Claire was bringing her new boyfriend, a guy named Doug, who apparently sells insurance and has opinions about everything, and how Dad had put up the outdoor lights for the first time in 3 years. Normal stuff, pleasant stuff. I relaxed a little. Maybe this year would be different. We got to the house and it looked great, honestly. My mom had gone all out with decorations, wreaths on every window, garland on the banister, one of those inflatable snowmen in the front yard that my dad has always hated but tolerates because my mom loves it. The tree was up in the living room, lights and ornaments, the whole deal. It smelled like cinnamon and pine. I dropped my bag in my old bedroom, which is now half guest room, half storage for my mom's craft supplies, and thought, okay, this is fine. This is Christmas. I can do this. The 23rd was uneventful. We had dinner, my mom made her beef stew, which is one of her better dishes, and watched some holiday movie on TV. Claire came over for a bit with Doug. Doug talked about insurance deductibles for 20 minutes. I nodded politely. My dad fell asleep in his recliner around 9. Standard operating procedure. Here's where things change. I went to bed around 11. My old bedroom is at the end of the upstairs hallway, right above the kitchen. The house is old, built in the 70s, and the insulation between floors is basically decorative. You can hear everything from the kitchen if you're in that bedroom. Always could. When I was a kid, I used to lie in bed and listen to my parents talking after they thought I was asleep. Most of the time it was boring adult stuff, bills, schedules, whose turn it was to drive me to practice. But sometimes you'd catch something interesting. A fight they thought you couldn't hear. A worry they didn't want you to know about. It's like having a free subscription to a podcast you never asked for. On the night of December 23rd, at about 11:30, I heard voices downstairs. I wasn't asleep yet. I was scrolling my phone, half reading the news, half thinking about nothing. The voices were my mom, my dad, and Claire. I figured they were just talking, maybe wrapping presents or something. But then I heard my name. Not in a casual way, not "Jake seems tired" or "Jake looks good." It was Jake in the context of a sentence that made my stomach drop. I put my phone down and listened. My dad said something like, and I'm paraphrasing what I heard through the floor, "We need to figure out how to bring this up to Jake." My mom's voice quieter. "He's been different lately. He didn't offer to help with anything this year." Claire. "Because he's being weird about money. I told you guys, he's pulling away." My dad. "We've got $8,000 in expenses between the dinner, the cabin rental, and everything else. We can't cover that." Let me pause on that. $8,000. For a Christmas that I was apparently expected to fund. A dinner I didn't plan, at a cabin I didn't book, for a holiday I was invited to as a guest. $8,000. I sat up in bed. My heart was going fast, but my brain was doing what it always does, shifting into analysis mode. This is what I do for a living. When a client tells me something that doesn't add up, I don't react. I gather data. I assess. I plan. And lying in that bed in my childhood bedroom, with the glow-in-the-dark stars still stuck to the ceiling from when I was 9 years old, that's exactly what I did. I picked up my phone. I opened the voice recorder app, and I held it near the heating vent in the floor, the one that connects directly to the kitchen, and I pressed record. What I got over the next 12 minutes was the committee in full session. My mom outlined the expenses. The Christmas Eve dinner was catered. She'd ordered from some upscale place in town because she wanted it to be special this year. That was $2,800. The cabin rental, apparently they'd booked a cabin at a state park for the day after Christmas, some family getaway thing nobody had mentioned to me, was $3,200. Then there were gifts, decorations, and incidentals that added up to another $2,000. $8,000 total. My dad's contribution to the planning was mostly logistical. He said things like, "We'll bring it up at dinner. Frame it as splitting costs. He won't say no in front of everyone." My dad, my own father, was coaching my mom and sister on how to corner me at Christmas dinner. Claire's role was more targeted. She said, and I remember this one clearly because it hit different, "Just remind him he makes way more than any of us. He can afford it. It's not like he has a wife or kids to spend it on." That one right there. It's not like he has a wife or kids to spend it on. As if my money is less valid, less mine, because I'm single. As if the life I've built is just a holding pattern until I have a family that would justify keeping my own income. They talked about how to phrase it. My mom suggested saying something like, "We all pitched in for the planning, so it's only fair to split the costs." My dad said, "Don't mention the exact number right away. Let him agree to splitting first, then show him the breakdown." That's a sales tactic. My father was using a sales tactic on me. At Christmas. Claire added, "If he pushes back, just remind him about the furnace. And the roof. He helped with those, so he can't suddenly act like family doesn't help family." Using my own generosity as a weapon. Using the fact that I'd already given them thousands of dollars as justification for asking for thousands more. That's not family helping family. That's a debt trap dressed up in tinsel. I recorded all of it. 12 minutes and 43 seconds. Then I stopped the recording, put my phone on the nightstand, and lay there in the dark staring at those glow-in-the-dark stars that haven't actually glowed in 15 years. I have to jump in. The committee held a full strategy session in the kitchen, while Jake was one floor above them, with a heating vent that doubles as a microphone. They rehearsed the framing. Dad's coaching the family on objection handling, like it's a quarterly sales meeting. And Claire said he can afford it because he doesn't have a wife or kids. That's not a financial argument. That's a personal attack wrapped in a spreadsheet. These three reverse-engineered a guilt trip. They didn't ask him. They plotted against him. And the man they're plotting against? He plans finances for a living. They brought a napkin to a spreadsheet fight. I didn't sleep much that night. I lay in bed running scenarios the way I run projections for clients. If X happens, what's the best response? If they frame it as Y, how do I redirect? I wasn't angry, or maybe I was, but the anger was underneath something colder. Something more precise. I felt like I'd been handed the answer key to a test I'd been failing for years, without knowing why. All those carefully placed complaints. All those sighs about expenses. All those conveniently timed mentions of costs. It was never organic. It was coordinated. The committee had been running this play for years, and I'd been falling for it every single time. Christmas Eve morning. I came downstairs and everything was normal. My mom was making cinnamon rolls. My dad was reading the news on his tablet. Claire showed up around 10 with Doug, who immediately started talking about homeowners insurance. The house smelled like sugar and pine needles. Christmas music was playing from the little speaker my mom keeps on the kitchen windowsill. Everyone was smiling, and I smiled too, because I had a plan. I spent the day being pleasant. Helped my dad hang a wreath that had fallen off the front door. Played cards with Claire and Doug. Doug is surprisingly competitive at gin rummy, and also a sore loser, which tracks for someone who sells insurance. Helped my mom set up the dining room for the big dinner. I complimented the decorations. I laughed at my dad's jokes. I was the perfect holiday guest. And inside my pocket, my phone sat with 12 minutes and 43 seconds of audio that was going to change everything. The catered dinner arrived around 5, and credit where it's due, my mom picked well. Roasted prime rib, garlic mashed potatoes, green beans with almonds, bread rolls, the works. She'd also ordered 2 pies, pumpkin and pecan, from a bakery in town. The table looked beautiful. Candles lit, the good china out, cloth napkins. My mom had clearly wanted this to feel special, and it did. For about 45 minutes. We ate. We talked. It was actually pleasant. Doug told a story about a client who tried to claim their cat as a dependent, which was genuinely funny. My dad told his annual story about the time he almost burned down the kitchen making Christmas cookies in 1994. Claire showed everyone pictures of a stray cat she'd been feeding behind her apartment building. She wants to adopt it. Doug is allergic. Doug does not look allergic to anything. Doug looks like he sells insurance. My mom kept getting up to refill dishes and make sure everyone had enough. It was, for a little while, a real family Christmas dinner. Then the dishes were cleared. The pies were served. And my dad leaned back in his chair and said the words I'd been waiting for. So, Jake, your mom and I were thinking, since this year's Christmas was a real group effort, it'd be nice to split some of the costs. You know, keep it fair. There it was. The pitch. Delivered almost word for word, the way they'd rehearsed it the night before. Group effort. Split. Fair. Every word chosen to make it sound reasonable. Collaborative. Like I was being invited to participate rather than ambushed into paying. I looked at my dad. Then at my mom. Then at Claire. Then at Doug, who was eating pecan pie and clearly had no idea what was about to happen. I said, "Sure, Dad. I think that's a great idea. But before we get into numbers, I want to play something for everyone." I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. I opened the voice recorder app. I set the phone on the table between the candles and the butter dish, and I pressed play. The kitchen came through the speaker first, that ambient sound of a room at night, the hum of the fridge, the tick of the clock above the stove. Then voices, my dad's voice. "We need to figure out how to bring this up to Jake," my mom's voice. "He's been different lately. He didn't offer to help with anything this year." Claire's voice. "Because he's being weird about money." I watched their faces as 12 minutes and 43 seconds of strategy meeting played out on the dining room table next to the good china and the cloth napkins. I watched my dad's face go from confusion to recognition to something I'd never seen before. A kind of exposed panic, like a man who just realized the meeting he thought was private was being broadcast on a loudspeaker. My mom's hand went to her mouth. Claire's face went red. Doug stopped eating his pie, which might be the most remarkable thing that happened all night because Doug had been eating nonstop since he arrived. Nobody spoke. The recording played. Every word of it. The catering cost. The cabin rental. My dad's coaching on how to frame the ask. Claire's comment about how I don't have a wife or kids. My mom's suggestion to guilt me with the word fair. All of it. In their own voices. In a room that was dead silent except for the playback and the sound of the furnace. The same furnace I'd paid $1,800 to fix, kicking on in the basement. When the recording ended, I picked up my phone and put it back in my pocket. My sister started crying. Not loud, dramatic crying. The quiet kind. The kind that happens when someone realizes they've been caught and the shame hits before the defense mechanisms kick in. Her shoulders shook and she stared at the tablecloth. My mom was the first to speak. She said, and I will never forget this, "You were never supposed to hear that. Not, we're sorry. Not, that's not what it sounds like. Not, we should have talked to you directly. Just, you were never supposed to hear that." As if the problem wasn't what they did. The problem was that I found out. I let that sentence sit in the air for a moment. Then I said, "That's the thing, Mom? I wasn't supposed to hear it. But I did. And now I know exactly what this is." My dad tried to recover. He said, "Jake, come on. You're taking this out of context. We were just trying to figure out how to bring it up. That's all. It sounds worse than it is." Classic deflection. Reframe the evidence as a misunderstanding. I've seen clients try this when their portfolio losses come out worse than they expected. The numbers look worse than they are. "No, Dad. The numbers are exactly what they are." I said, "Dad, you literally said he won't say no in front of everyone. That's not figuring out how to bring it up. That's figuring out how to trap me." Claire looked up from the tablecloth and said, "Jake, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said about the wife and kids thing. That came out wrong." I said, "It came out exactly the way you meant it, Claire. You think because I'm single, my money is the family's money. You said it. I heard it. Let's not pretend otherwise." She started crying harder. Doug put his hand on her shoulder and looked at me with an expression that said, "I just came here for free food and now I'm in a hostage situation." I almost felt bad for Doug. Almost. "Okay. You were never supposed to hear that." That's what his mother said. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "We should have been honest." Her first reaction to getting caught scheming against her own son was to be upset that he found out. The committee doesn't feel guilty about what they do. They feel inconvenienced when the plan fails. And Dad's defense? It sounds worse than it is. It is the sound. There's no context that makes "he won't say no in front of everyone" sound like healthy family communication. Jake played the receipts at the dinner table, literally. And the recording doesn't lie, even if they've been lying to themselves for years. My mom tried again. She said, "Jake, we were going to talk to you about it. We just wanted to figure out the best way. We didn't want to make it awkward." I said, "You didn't want to make it awkward? You planned an $8,000 Christmas and your strategy for getting me to pay for it was to ambush me at dinner. How is that not awkward?" She said, "It wasn't an ambush. We were going to ask you. We just wanted to find the right moment." I said, "The right moment was before you booked the caterer. The right moment was before you reserved the cabin. The right moment was any time in the last 3 months when you could have called me and said, 'Hey Jake, we're planning a bigger Christmas this year, and we're hoping everyone can chip in.' That's what normal families do. They don't hold planning sessions at midnight about how to psychologically maneuver someone into writing a check." My dad said, "You're blowing this out of proportion." And I could see him getting frustrated, not at himself, but at me, for ruining the evening, for not going along with the plan, for being difficult. That's always been my role in their eyes when I don't comply. I'm being difficult. Not reasonable, not boundary setting. Difficult. I pushed my chair back and stood up. I looked around the table, at the prime rib and the good china and the candles and the pie and the cloth napkins and this whole beautiful setup that I was apparently supposed to fund without being consulted. I said, I've given this family close to $19,000 over the last 3 years. Furnace, roof, tires, truck repairs, brakes, software, all of it. And not once, not one single time, did anyone say thank you in a way that wasn't followed by another request. I'm done being the family ATM. I'm done being the one who's expected to pay because I'm single and because I've been stupid enough to say yes before. This is the last Christmas I fund. Actually, this is the last Christmas I attend. My mom gasped. Claire put her head down on the table. My dad said, "Sit down, Jake." I said, "No." I grabbed my jacket from the coat rack by the front door. I grabbed my bag from the bedroom. I'd already packed it before dinner because I knew where this was heading. I walked out the front door past the inflatable snowman and the wreaths and the lights my dad had hung. I got in my rental car and I drove to a hotel about 20 minutes away. I checked in, got a room with a king bed and a view of the parking lot, sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall for about 15 minutes. Then I opened my laptop and booked a flight to Miami for the next morning. Found a beachfront hotel with availability, booked 5 nights. I spent Christmas Day through New Year's on a beach by myself, reading books and eating overpriced seafood, and not once, having to wonder if someone at the table was calculating how much money they could extract from me. It was the best vacation I've ever taken. Last bridge from me. This man packed his bag before dinner. He walked into that dining room with a recording on his phone and a suitcase by the door. That's not impulsive. That's a financial planner applying his skill set to a personal betrayal. He prepared for every outcome and executed the exit with zero wasted motion. The committee spent weeks planning their ambush. Jake spent one night planning his counter ambush. Now he's on a beach in Miami, while they're sitting in Ohio, wondering what happened. Sometimes the quiet ones aren't quiet because they have nothing to say. They're quiet because they're listening. I want to finish this with the aftermath because I know people are going to ask. I got a flood of texts on Christmas Day. My mom sent about 14 messages ranging from "please come back" to "you ruined Christmas" to "I can't believe you recorded us." My dad sent one text that said, "That was uncalled for, Jake." Claire sent a long message apologizing for the wife and kids comment, but also saying I humiliated her in front of Doug. Doug, for the record, texted me separately to say, "Hey man, no hard feelings, crazy night," which is probably the most reasonable thing anyone in my family's orbit has said in years. Doug's all right, actually. I didn't respond to any of the family texts for 3 days. I needed space. I needed to be away from the gravitational pull of their guilt and their expectations and their endless, exhausting financial choreography. On December 28th, I sent a group text to my parents and Claire that said, "I love you guys, but I need you to understand something." What I heard in that kitchen wasn't a family trying to figure out how to ask for help. It was a family trying to figure out how to take from me without it looking like taking. I've been your safety net for 3 years, and I didn't mind at first because I thought it was temporary. It wasn't. It was a system. And I don't want to be part of that system anymore. I'm not cutting you off, but the money stops. If you need help, ask honestly. Don't plan. Don't strategize. Don't rehearse. Just ask. And understand that the answer might be no. My mom responded with, "We just wanted a nice Christmas." My dad didn't respond at all. Claire sent back a single sentence, "I'm sorry." It's been about 3 months now. I didn't go home for New Year's or for my dad's birthday in February. My mom and I have talked on the phone twice. Short, surface-level calls. She hasn't brought up money. My dad and I haven't spoken directly. Claire and I text occasionally. She actually seems to be doing some genuine reflecting based on some of the things she said. She told me last month that she'd been thinking about how many times she'd heard my parents talk about what Jake can cover and how she'd never really questioned it before. That felt like a real moment. Small but real. I don't know what happens next. Maybe we rebuild. Maybe we don't. I don't feel angry anymore. I felt angry on that drive to the hotel, and I felt angry on the flight to Miami, and I felt angry for the first few days on that beach. But somewhere around day 3, sitting in a chair looking at the ocean with a book I'd been meaning to read for 2 years, the anger turned into something quieter. Relief, maybe. Or clarity. The kind of clarity you get when you finally stop performing a role that was written for you by people who only cared about what you could provide. I spent $19,000 learning that my family saw me as a resource. I spent $800 on a hotel and a flight learning that I don't have to be one. I'd say the $800 was the better investment. And that is the story. I gotta be honest, this one hit different for me. The recording at the dinner table is dramatic, sure. That's the moment everyone's going to talk about. But the part that sticks with me is the kitchen conversation. The idea that your own parents and your own sister would sit around at night and plan how to extract money from you, not how to ask, but how to manipulate you into saying yes. That's the part that turns this from a holiday argument into something deeper. Jake didn't blow up. He didn't scream. He didn't flip the table. He did exactly what a financial planner would do. He gathered the evidence, waited for the right moment, and presented the data. And the data was devastating because it was their own words. You can't spin your own voice. I think the biggest takeaway here is that generosity without boundaries eventually turns into exploitation. And the people who exploit you will never see it that way. They'll always frame it as family helping family or keeping things fair. But fair only flows in one direction in a lot of these families. It flows toward whoever has the most money and the least willingness to say no. Jake finally said no, and it cost him a Christmas. But I think it saved him a lot more than that. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious about this one. If you were Jake, would you have played the recording at the table, or would you have confronted them privately first? Let me know. Like the video if you made it this far, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in the next one.